Okay, picture this, a crazy tall church tower stabbing the sky. Then some dude starts pleading. It's Duke Russell, his face is all red, and he's clutching his chest, literally begging, "Please, you have to marry my son." Then he drops to his knees right in front of me. Everyone around us starts whispering. I'm just staring down at him like, is he seriously proposing asterisk for asterisk his son? But to get how we got here, we gotta rewind a bit. It started with a tiny hand fitting perfectly in mine, a warm glow spreading from my palm. This little kid looks up at me, his eyes totally sparkling with awe. I'm literally glowing. I give him a smile. How are you feeling? Way better. The kid is looking at me like I'm a superhero or something. Someone whispers, yeah, Miss Beija is basically a saint reborn. I don't say anything. This kid's smart though. He probably knows I'm thinking saint not even close. I wave to the little guy. Goodbye though. Funny enough, the reincarnated part is actually true. My smile is plastered on, but my fingers are shaking just a little. Honestly, being a real saint would have been a cakewalk compared to this. I mean, who gets reincarnated twice from literally working themselves to death? It's so messed up. This time around, I got adopted by a nice family and thought, finally a break. But that was a total joke. The second they signed the papers, I became their personal ATM to pay off all their debts. I've been working like a dog just to get my adoptive parents out of the red. A total slave, basically. Ugh, at this rate, I'll still be hustling when I'm old and gray, I think to myself. If only like 100 million gold coins would just drop out of the sky. I walk right past the Duke and then suddenly, bam! Something shoves me from behind. I trip, letting out a little yelp. Whoa, what was that? A smooth guy's voice comes from over me. Oh, miss, I'm so sorry. I look up and those gold eyes belong to Duke Russell. He's looking right at me. I was in a rush and wasn't watching where I was going. Are you okay? I just shake my head. I'm fine. A Duke saying sorry for bumping into someone. That's a new one. I look up at him. So what brings you all the way out to the boonies? His eyes drift past me like he's staring at something far away. What else to pray to the gods in front of that misty statue? He looks super serious about it. I mean, literally everyone in the Empire knows who Duke Russell is. He's kind of the only Duke, so yeah. But the bigger deal is that he's one of the few people who actually genuinely believes in the gods. It's not just for show. The guy is a true believer deep down. They say that whenever it comes to anything about the gods, he becomes a totally different person. The Duke turns back around, and his eyes light up like he recognizes me. Hey, you're the healer who helped that kid earlier, right? I just give a little nod. Yep, that was me. The Duke's eyes are kind of soft but super intense at the same time. You've got some serious skills. I've been watching you. Can I get your name? I hold out my hand. Oh, my name is Beija. And just like that, Duke Russell's face completely freezes. He rubs his chin. Sorry, what was that again? I repeat Beija. Then out of nowhere, he drops to his knees with a loud thud. He's looking up at me and I'm totally lost. Yes, he says, clasping his hands together. I know this is super out of the blue, but would you consider becoming my daughter-in-law? My cheeks are on fire. My brain is just short-circuiting. Daughter-in-law. The word just echoes through the whole temple. The hottest guy in the entire empire. It's not even a secret. Ask literally anyone on the street and they'll just smile and say, Young Master Fitzrussell. Like, duh, of course it's Young Master Fitzrussell. 10 times out of 10, you'll get the same answer. Duke Russell's son, Fitzrussell. He's got a face that's flawless and a personality that's basically Sub-Zero. The gossip is that even the fanciest noble girls have never gotten more than like 3 sentences out of him. He always just walks away this lone, unapproachable figure. I look at the Duke kneeling in front of me. You want me to marry your son? The Duke nods like his life depends on it. Yes, please. Why, the Duke's eyes are literally sparkling. Did you know my son Fitz was named after a god of the same name, and that God loved his mortal girlfriend his whole life? He sounds so hopeful it's crazy. And wasn't that girlfriend's name? Beija. That's right. He grabs my hands, squeezing them tight. This has to be fate. I try to yank my hand away. But your grace. I'm just a normal girl from nowhere special. I'm so not in young Master Fitz's league. The Duke just shakes his head. Your status doesn't matter one bit. Yeah, right, I think to myself. Easy for you to say you're a freaking Duke. The only ducal house in the whole empire marrying some girl from a no-name country family? How is that even a thing? I'm holding these flowers, but I can feel a million pairs of eyes staring at me from the shadows. They'll say I'm a social climber. They'll turn me into a total joke. My life is hard enough, thank you very much. I give him a deep bow. I really appreciate the offer, but I'm going to have to pass. I'm sure the young master wouldn't want this either. A cold, sharp voice cuts right through me. I have no objection. I'm just frozen. What Fitz's expression is completely blank. I have no objection to this marriage. And just like that, he's standing right next to me. The air gets so thick you could cut it with a knife. He's not showing any emotion, but my heart is going crazy. The Duke, meanwhile, is beaming like he's won. I sigh internally. Seriously, what is up with this dad and his kid? Like father, like son, for real. Fitz looks at me, his voice totally steady. I won't expect anything from you. You just have to be there. Even with him saying that, this whole thing just feels so wrong. I turn my head away. Young master, you should really think about this. Is someone like me really right for you? Fitz doesn't even blink. Why not? He gets cut off by someone yelling. Your Grace, a knight comes running up. It's an order from the palace. You have to get back to the capital, like right now. The Duke starts to argue, but I'm not done talking to my future daughter-in-law. Fitz puts a hand on his shoulder, all calm. Father, it's fine. You go. I'll talk to her. The Duke just waves all happily. We'll see each other again soon. Daughter-in-law. And just like that, he was gone. B looked up at him like, dude, are you seriously going through with this marriage thing? Fitz glanced down. Once my dad decides something, he doesn't back down, he added. Plus, you're like really pretty. A blush totally crept up Beija's cheeks. OMG, is he flirting with me right now? But if he's gonna be this stubborn, I've gotta shut this whole thing down for good. B lifted her chin. All right then, fiancé. Since we're talking marriage, why don't you come see where I live? They headed down a basic street in town, and Fitz pulled up his hood to hide his crazy good looks. Beija was secretly loving this. Perfect. This is going exactly how I planned. He's gotta be totally grossed out. Fitz stopped dead staring at the rundown corner in front of them. You live asterisk here, asterisk. Yep, she said, not missing a beat. A couple of rats scurried by the wall. Fitz's eyes scanned the whole area. And your parents? Beija just smiled and said, basically an orphan, actually. A friendly voice suddenly yelled, Beija! Her foster parents were standing in the doorway. Beija was kinda shocked. Mom, Dad, what are you guys doing here? Her foster dad was nervously fidgeting with his hands, a huge grin plastered on his face. We've got amazing news for you. The best news. Beija's stomach dropped. Yeah, this doesn't sound good at all. A ray of light hit a super fancy carriage. Her foster parents threw their arms out, all excited. We brought you someone to meet. A foot in a leather shoe stepped out. Then this short, chubby, balding guy appeared, a gross, smug look on his face. Her foster dad puffed out his chest, all proud. This is Count Devon, your future fiancé, Beija. Beija's face went white. What? She stumbled back. Wait. Fiancé. Her foster mom cut in, totally annoyed. Why are you so shocked? The Count didn't just agree to marry you. He's also gonna pay off all our debts. Beija stared at her foster mom. No way. Her foster mom's face got all dark. Oh, but we already signed the papers. You can't get out of it now. Bea stared at them like she couldn't believe it. How could you do this without asking me? Their voices echoed in her head. Beija, look, I know this is a lot to take in, but just do this one thing for us. I mean, after all the trouble we went through raising you. Her world was spinning. A sharp pain shot through her chest. Everything they did for me. What are they even talking about? Are they talking about the time I had a cold and they locked me in my room so they wouldn't get sick, leaving me to cough my guts out? Or when we had no food and they boiled rotten peels for me to eat? Or maybe, how about when they kicked me out in the middle of winter to fend for myself? Little Beija's voice was shaking in the snow. Matches, anybody need matches, matches? The memories just came flooding back, totally overwhelming her. She stumbled and hit the ground hard. Whoa, what happened? Some random person yelled. That kid just passed out. Do they seriously think they've done a single thing for me? If this was your endgame, all along to just sell me off. Beija stepped forward, her eyes like ice. She faced her foster parents. Sorry, but you're out of luck. Beija grabbed Fitz's arm. I'm already engaged. She looked up at Fitz like, right. Fitz's eyes locked on hers. Beija's voice rang out clear and strong. To the heir of the Russell Duchy, the one and only Fitz Russell. Her foster parents just froze their faces, a total picture of disbelief. They don't believe me. Her foster mom suddenly started cracking up. Haha, Beija, you've taken this joke way too far. Why would a guy like Fitz ever propose to someone like you? Before she could even finish, Fitz reached up and slowly pulled back his hood. A face so handsome it was unreal was revealed. Her foster parents were instantly silent. It was like his face was literally glowing in the sun. Could the guy who proposed to her really be him? Those golden eyes? He really is Duke Russell's son. Fitz let out a quiet sigh. He turned to the foster dad. So it seems you two aren't Beija's real parents. The foster dad was totally tongue-tied for a second. What are you talking about, sir? Fitz just looked at them. Beija really is something else. He moved so Beija was behind him. She's such a sweet person. And yet you two are just unbelievably cruel. The foster mom's face got ugly. What did you just say to us? The foster parents huddled up, whispering to each other. A nasty, scheming smile crept onto the foster mom's face. Beija watched them. What are they plotting now? The foster mom turned to Fitz. So you're maybe interested in our daughter? Fitz didn't even blink. What if I am? The foster mom leaned in close to Fitz, dropping her voice to a whisper. Just offer more than Count Devon and Beija's all yours. Something suddenly shoved the foster mom away. She yelped in surprise. Fitz's voice was pure ice. Beija is not a piece of property. He turned to Beija. Right. He held out his hand. Beija looked up into his kind eyes. Her heart did a little flip. A smile bloomed on her face. She put her hand in his. Yeah. They walked away together, leaving all that drama behind. The carriage pulled up outside Beija's place. Beija let out a little sigh, pressing her fingers against her tired eyes. She glanced at her tiny suitcase. It's not like there was much to pack anyway. Okay, I guess we're going to his family's estate first. Meanwhile, Fitz was giving an order to the driver. Make this ride as bumpy as you possibly can. I only said he was my fiancé to get out of that mess. The stress of this fake engagement is killing me. Can I just stay at the manor for like a year first just to figure things out? When I asked him, Fitz, to my total shock, said yes right away. Of course. Is this everything you're bringing? He reached over and grabbed her little suitcase. Here, let me get that. Thanks. She got into the carriage thinking, I guess it's okay for him to hold it for a second. Fitz put my case is on the seat and it's got super important stuff inside. Whoa, the carriage totally just lurched. Beija almost flies off her seat. Beija's getting thrown around in here. Clatter, clatter. She glances over at Fitz, who looks completely unfazed. Are these things always so bumpy? Fitz replies totally deadpan. The driver was a last-minute hire. Guess his skills are kinda trash. Beija complains totally miserable. Is there like any other way to do this? I seriously feel like I'm gonna be sick. Fitz thinks for a sec. I'm afraid finding another driver out here would be a long shot. Fitz holds out his hand. If you're feeling that bad, you can sit on my lap. Beija's eyes go wide. Well, he keeps going. If you get hurt, my dad will totally have my head. Come on. Beija hesitates then. Excuse me. She carefully sits down on his lap. Fitz's arm wraps right around her. I'll hold on tight so you don't fall. She answers kinda quiet. Oh, okay. This is way better, even if it's a little weird. Her heart starts hammering and wow, he smells amazing. It's this warm, familiar scent. Beija. His deep voice rumbles right by her ear. His hair brushes against her cheek. It tickles. She blurts out, I'm sorry. Fitz just shakes his head. It's cool. She can't stop herself from yelling, Sir, could you please try to be a little less bumpy? A cold rain starts pouring over the city, drenching the rooftops and cobblestone streets. The whole world is a blur. Beija's lying in bed, this awful chill creeping over her. You can just see how exhausted she is. She shivers a little. No. How is this happening? I'm back here again. Beija is standing on a busted staircase surrounded by shattered pieces of memories she's lost. The dream always shows her these broken bits of her past life, but it never lets her see the whole picture. A faint whisper echoes in her head. Asterisk, we can't meet. If we do, we'll just make the same mistakes all over again. The voices are distant but sharp. Beija looks up. Well, there's one good thing about dreams, I guess. In here, I can do basically anything. Like this, for example. She holds out her hand and a warm golden light pools at her fingertips. Tonus's diary. A name just pops into her head. A thick red book materializes out of nowhere, landing in her palm. She can summon things from the real world. Someone's been trying really hard to get their hands on this book. Legend says it belonged to someone who talked to the gods. Her mind flashes back to that afternoon at the orphanage. The director gave her the diary when she was just a kid, saying it was a keepsake from her parents. She took it totally full of hope, wishing it might help her survive, maybe even find her family. But the ancient writing was like a wall she couldn't climb. Beija stares at the diary in her hands, and then just freezes. A thought hits her. Wait a sec. I can read it now. Why, oh, I get it. This dream is built from my past life's memories. That's why I can read this ancient script. Beija opens the diary, her fingers lightly brushing the pages. Okay, let's see. Asterisk. To fall in love with a being from a different life cycle. Is that what a fool does, asterisk? You can just feel the endless sadness between the lines. She gasps, and the diary slips from her hands. It feels like an invisible hand is squeezing her heart. She can't breathe, like she just found out a secret she was never meant to know. Beija! A voice calls out from the darkness. Who's there? Some random guy is standing there with his back to her, who keeps saying my name, Beija. The voice cuts right through the dream. She bolts awake. Her forehead is soaked in cold sweat. Fitz is sitting by the bed. He looks a little worried. You looked like you were having a nightmare. Beija looks up at him. Yeah. Her voice is kind of scratchy. Where are we now? Fitz explains. The rain got too crazy, so we had to stop at an inn. His palm feels warm on her forehead. You feel like you have a fever. You should get some rest. Thank you, Beija asks quietly. Can you get me a wet cloth? Fitz turns to leave. Of course. She quietly watches his back. Young master? You're really handsome. He stops. Am I? Yeah. Your mother must have been really beautiful too. He turns his head, his eyes looking super soft. Yes, although she's not with us anymore. A flicker of sadness crosses his face. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Fitz sits back down on the bed. It's all right. It was a long time ago. He looks at her, but you can tell it still hurts. Fitz asks softly, what were your adoptive parents like? Beija's breath hitches. Her voice is barely a whisper. Just like you saw, they're barely even human. In her memory, there are just dark corners, cold yelling, and awful punishments. Little her had nowhere to run. When she got older, the beatings were replaced with endless work. There was literally zero light in her life. Beija pulls the blanket tighter around herself. When I was little, I was always hungry and had to dig through trash heaps. The whole vibe around Fitz suddenly turns ice cold. I think I've said too much, Beija adds in a tiny voice, but at least I don't have to eat rotten food anymore. I see. Fitz's voice is low. His hand at his side clenches into a fist, his knuckles turning white. He suddenly stands up. You should look forward to it. He leaves, giving her a gentle look over his shoulder. Look forward to tomorrow's breakfast. Meanwhile, down in the kitchen, the head chef suddenly shivers. Weird. Why did it suddenly get so cold in here? The next morning, sunlight streams into the inn. The table is piled high with incredible food. Bread, cheese, fruit, and hot soup. Bia's eyes totally light up. Fitz pulls a chair out for her. Good morning, Bia. She sits down feeling a little self-conscious. Good morning, young master. Is all this for breakfast? Fitz replies in a playful tone. Nope, that's not what I meant. His expression goes back to normal. Didn't I tell you yesterday to look forward to breakfast? Behind him, you can practically see the burned-out souls of the chefs, all because of that one comment. I casually mentioned this yesterday. And he did all this for me. Bia just stares at him and her heart kind of melts. Fitz totally feels her staring. He turns to her, thank you. She says super soft. Young master? Her smile is literally warmer than the sun. Her cheeks get all pink like morning dew on flower petals. Fitz's ears get so red, and his whole look just softens. He looks away, all awkward. Seriously, go ahead, dig in. He's like super eager, pushing the bread at her. I can get it myself. An hour later, Beija is just leaning back in her chair. Totally stuffed. That was insanely good. I think I ate way too much. Even the dessert was like a whole meal by itself. So was it good? Yeah, it was literally the best thing I've ever had. Before she can even finish, a huge crash just shatters the moment. The whole building starts shaking like crazy. What was that? Fitz instantly pulls Beija behind him. There's a ton of noise coming from outside. They head out to the wreckage. Someone's trapped under there. Hurry, get a stretcher. The crowd is a total mess. A couple of people run up with a stretcher. Start pulling them out from down there. The guy on the stretcher is covered in blood. He's messed up bad. Beija's face gets super serious. Okay, I can fix small stuff, but a wound this bad? It's gonna totally drain me. But I can't just stand here and let someone die, can I? She steps up. She murmurs, I'm just gonna do some basic first aid. Then her hands cover the wound, and this warm golden light starts pouring out of them. A blinding light just explodes out of nowhere. My power. It feels kind of different today. Why is the light so intense? The light dies down and the wound is just completely gone. Everyone around them is freaking out. I don't believe it. The injured guy sits up. He's just staring at his own perfectly fine arm. The wounds, they're all gone. What the heck? Beija looks at her own hands, totally confused. I didn't mean to heal him that completely. What just happened? The crowd just erupts with gasps and cheers. The guy is thanking her like crazy. Fitz grabs her shoulders to steady her, his eyes full of worry. Beija, are you okay? She gives a small nod. I'm fine. Beija's mind is just racing. This is insane. How did I even do that? Fitz's voice snaps her out of it. We gotta go before a bigger crowd shows up. Beija looks down at her palm, still kind of out of it, but she tries to get it together. It's gonna be okay, right? A few days later, the carriage is rolling along. With all the gentle rocking, Fitz calls out softly, Beija. She stirs against him, making a soft sound. I think it's time to get up. Yeah. She slowly blinks her eyes open. Are we almost there? Yeah. We're pulling up to this huge estate. Fitz gets this serious look on his face. Before we get there, there's something I gotta tell you. Once we're at the estate, a lot of people are gonna question our marriage. She imagines a line of maids just giving her these icy stares, so Fitz looks her right in the eye. From now on, I'm going to act like I fell for you the second I saw you. He gently takes her hand and the whole vibe between them gets intense. Beija is totally floored. What? Young master, you're saying you do that for me? He gives a small nod. Yeah, if I say I brought you here because I love you, no one's gonna question it. Beija's cheeks get so red. So do I have to pretend I'm in love with you? Too. Fitz's voice is soft. You just need to focus on settling in here at the estate. Oh, thank God. Beija breathes a sigh of relief. The carriage slowly rolls into the estate, stopping at the front gate. Fitz takes her hand as they get out of the carriage, pretending to be in love with him. Ugh, just thinking about it is so cringe. Duke Russell comes running over all excited. Beija, my dear, your grace. You're back. He runs right up to Beija, totally out of breath. I've missed you like crazy. Thank you for coming to our home, she thinks. But I'm only here for a year. Duke Russell holds out a hand all friendly. Let me give you the tour. Just as Beija's about to say yes, a firm voice cuts in. Father. Fitz steps over, getting between them. He reaches for Beija and pulls her into his arms. She's with me. He holds her close, his stance super intimate and possessive. Everyone around them is in total shock. I have never seen this side of him. Over all the whispering, Fitz speaks up. Beija and I just want some time alone. She hisses in his arms. Not yet. Duke Russell looks kind of bummed. I'm such a thoughtless old man. Beija rushes to explain, Your Grace. It's not like that at all. He walks off looking totally defeated. Don't worry about me, my dear. I had a few rooms prepared. Pick whichever one you like best. Beija says, worried. Young master, don't you think this is a little over the top? Fitz just looks at her. I have to do this, Beija. I just want to be alone with you. Fitz's voice isn't loud, but everyone totally hears it. OMG is the master for real, the maids whisper. I guess the act is working, Beija thinks. But does he really have to be like this for a whole year? The next day at the estate, Duke Russell is resting his chin on his hands, and his eyes are literally sparkling. He's just staring at her without blinking. My dear, are you feeling uncomfortable at all? Beija silently looks away. Yeah, you're making me super uncomfortable. He offers her a cup of tea. Here, have some tea. It's really good. She takes the cup. Thank you, Your Grace. This is all so extra. Beija takes a small sip. Suddenly, Fitz leans in super close to Beija. He gently wipes a little tea stain from her lips. You've got something right here. His fingers are so warm. His breath is right there. The whole vibe gets all blushy and romantic. Beija's face instantly goes bright red. Thank you. Duke Russell brings over a cake. You should try some cake too. Thank you. She watches Fitz's over-the-top performance, but is kind of relieved. It's a good thing he's so bad at this acting thing. If he was actually good at this. MG, I think I'm actually falling for him. Her hand tightens without her even realizing. Oh, by the way, I just remembered. Fitz turns to Duke Russell. Hey, did you ever find that book you were looking for? Duke Russell gives him a look. You mean Thonis's diary? He asks. That's the whole reason I went to the palace. And you know what happened? That absolute creep tried to marry his own daughter off to my son. The nerve of that guy like my son doesn't get a choice. The Duke was still fuming. So I told him my son's already in love with someone. Beija's heart totally melted. Your Grace. Duke Russell takes her hand. It's so warm and reassuring. So I told him all about you. It's gonna be tough for my son to keep you a secret here. You cool with that? Beige just smiles. It's fine. He's just worried about me. I knew what I was getting into when I came here. Being Fitz's fiancée means I'll get dragged to all kinds of events. It's gonna get intense, right? She saw her reflection in the teacup looking kind of stressed. But hey, nothing good comes easy. If I just focus on all the good stuff I get to do here, I can totally deal. She was decided. Fitz couldn't help but let out a little laugh. Beige looks at him kind of shocked. Asterisk. Did he just laugh, asterisk? What's so funny? She asks. Fitz shuts it down instantly. I didn't laugh. You so did. Nope. Just then a maid shows up at the door. And Miss Beija! The maid looked super worried. Are you really going public? Is there any other news from the palace? Duke Russell let out a quiet sigh. It's like some weird disaster is sweeping across the whole empire. You know, now that I think about it, this stuff was happening back in the village too. These aren't just accidents. It feels like someone's doing this on purpose. Plus, way more people have been going missing lately. Something sketchy is definitely going down. Fitz looks over at the Duke. So you want me to look into it? Everyone they've sent to check it out has either vanished or ended up dead. You're the only one who can pull this off. The Duke's voice was dead serious. If you can actually solve this, they've promised to name a new state religion. Fitz kind of chokes up. A state religion, like one that represents the entire empire. He pictures this epic church glowing with holy light, a symbol of ultimate power and major bragging rights. Beija looks totally lost. But what does that have to do with us? Fitz turns to the Duke. Got it. I'll be back ASAP. Beige turns to Fitz, her face a total mess of worry. But Fitz, isn't that like super dangerous? Sending you to investigate a case with basically zero clues? The Duke crosses his arms. Don't you worry, sweetie. He sounded so proud. My son can do any kind of magic except for healing. Beija's cheeks get a little pink. Asterisk everything except healing magic. Her eyes totally light up. Maybe. I can help. She looks right at the Duke. In that case, can I go with Fitz on the investigation? Fitz shuts her down hard. No way! Beija is stunned. Why not? Fitz's voice gets low. This mission is dangerous. We have no idea what we're walking into. I might not be able to protect you the whole time, Beija. Beige keeps pushing. I can handle myself. Fitz doesn't budge. I get it, I really do. But the answer is still no. He turns away, crossing his arms. Who takes their fiancé somewhere that dangerous? Beija's eyes dart around. Fine, then I'll just have to show you. She suddenly reaches out and grabs the collar of Fitz's shirt. Do my feelings mean anything to you? Fitz is a little shocked. Beija's face is beet red. She turns her head and pouts. Ugh, my fiancé is so dense. A couple of maids are watching the whole thing totally shook. Beija's voice is loud and clear. How am I supposed to just stay here all by myself? She runs right in front of Fitz and looks up at him, basically begging with her eyes. Please, let's go together. Fitz is quiet, not saying a thing. Beige pushes him. Why won't you answer me? He just stays silent, staring at her. Finally, Fitz says, I'm sorry, Beija. You can come with me. He is so whipped for her. Fitz's cheeks turn pink. He quietly looks away. A guy with blue hair and intense eyes appears. I'm Alistair, Fitz's personal assistant. Alistair is standing by Fitz's desk, while Fitz crushes some paperwork. I am seriously living my best life, and it's all because of Miss Beija. Alistair watches Fitz, who's actually focused for once. He used to put everything off. But ever since Miss Beija showed up, he's been grinding nonstop just to impress her. Alistair feels so satisfied. I seriously can't believe this day is finally here. Fitz asks Alistair, "What's the plan for this afternoon?" Alistair answers, "You've got a letter from Count Ellen's turf." He explains, "They said they need to talk about something urgent." Some giggling comes from outside the door. Alistair's face gets dark. "Who's gossiping out there?" The voices just keep going. "You've got some serious nerve." "How could you say that stuff about Miss Beija?" Fitz's pen stops moving. Something is definitely off. "It's not like I'm blind." Fitz gets up. He walks over his steps heavy. Getting busted for trash talking is a huge deal. Fitz suddenly pops up right in front of them. The two maids look terrified. Fitz crosses his arms, staring down at them. His eyes are glowing purple. The maids gasp. "Master Fitz!" He asks, his voice ice cold. "What are you two holding?" Fitz snags the book from them. It says 28. The young master brings home his fiancée. The maids are freaking out. "Oh crap, this is..." Fitz points to the office. "You two in my office, now." The maids hang their heads. "Yes, sir, we are so busted." Fitz tells Alistair, "Give us a minute." Alistair replies respectfully, "Yes, sir." The office door clicked shut. Alistair figured, okay, this should be over in like 10 minutes. 3 hours later, he's still parked outside the door. Seriously, what is the master even doing in there? Alistair snuck a peek through the crack in the door. He thought, if this drags on any longer, I'm 100% stuck with overtime tonight. Something is majorly off. Fitz was reading out loud. The story started like this. One day, the young master randomly brought home his fiancée. Word is she's one of the top 5 beauties in the empire. No, scratch that. Miss Beija is the most beautiful girl in the entire empire. Inside the office, the brown-haired maid was writing like her life depended on it. With Fitz watching her every move, she crossed out the wrong sentence. "Yes, my lord." Alistair walked in looking super worried. "Master, what on earth are you doing?" Fitz just answered calmly, "Handling an urgent matter." Alistair's face was a mess of anxiety. There was still a literal mountain of work to do. Suddenly, a huge bang made the air in the room completely freeze. That sound came from another room. Tons of papers flew through the air like a weird paper snowstorm. What was that? In the middle of all the flying paper, Beija sat totally still like she sensed something was about to happen. A strange ripple went through her. Let's rewind a few hours. Beija was just sitting at her desk, kind of zoning out. No matter how I think about it, something just feels wrong. She stared down at her hands. Why is my magic suddenly so much stronger? I literally haven't done anything. If anything was different, the only thing it could be was meeting Master Fitz. His face just lingered in her thoughts. She remembered some old saying, if you hang around someone with insane magic for long enough, you get stronger too. But she immediately tossed that idea out. The Duke and Alistair definitely don't have any magic. Beija leaned back in her chair with a soft sigh. Ugh, I give up. Her eyes landed on the book on the table. Might as well study, I guess. The page was open to healing magic, since I have no idea what's coming next. I should probably study more while my power is doing this weird thing. But first I need to check exactly how much stronger I've gotten. A magic circle on a diagram caught her eye. She remembered the way to test it. Place your hand on the diagram. Concentrate and pour your magic into it. For a few seconds, Beija took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and totally cleared her mind. The second her hands touched the diagram, a soft light started to glow, but then it vanished in an instant, and everything was silent again. How did that not work? Is my magic just too weak? Beija refused to give up. I'll try again, just a little more. Her fingertips touched the diagram one more time with a tiny bit of hope she could barely feel. A soft light started coming from the paper. Beija was a little surprised, like, huh? The next second, a massive explosion drowned out everything. Books and papers were blasted into the air. Her scream was completely swallowed by the noise, and that brings us back to right now. Beija was lying on the floor, totally dazed. She let out a pained groan. Ugh! Her body wouldn't move. The world in front of her started to fade to black. She heard the sound of light footsteps getting closer. Someone was coming. The person knelt down beside her, a look of pure panic and heartbreak on their face like she'd never seen before. So foolish. Her consciousness just drifted away. Silver hair floated in the empty space. A voice echoed, "You're always causing trouble for everyone. We're back here again. Just how stupid are you? I've told you so many times." A thick book just appeared in her hands. It was Theonis's diary. The voice sounded so annoyed. "Hey, I'm giving you advice, and you're totally ignoring me." Beija, holding the book, finally talked back for the first time. "When has your advice ever actually worked?" Even now, she couldn't understand any of this. The voice said, "I can help you translate that diary." A woman wearing a veil appeared in front of her. Her words were gentle, but had this authority you couldn't argue with. "But this time you have to listen to my story." Beija clutched the diary. "How much can you actually help me?" The veiled woman held out a hand. 5 pages. Beija shot back. "That's way too little. At least 1 chapter." The veiled woman looked surprised. "Are you trying to negotiate with me?" Beija's voice was firm. "No less." The veiled woman turned her head. "Fine." The veiled woman took the diary. She opened the book. Let's see. This diary is filled with some guy's despair. Why is life so hard? In my next life I want to be a rock. Not a single friend. Everyone is making my life difficult. Rain is blurring my vision. Please get me out of this hell. Beija poked her. Are you sure you're not just making that up? The veiled woman snapped back. Why would I lie to you? The next line is a little different. Listen close. Today I'm actually in a good mood for once because he didn't show up in front of me. Beija was confused. He, she pushed. Who is he? The veiled woman slammed the book shut. Now it's time for my story. The scene in front of her started to get blurry. The light from the chandelier was swaying. Beija's eyes flew open. She was lying in her own bed. I'm back in the real world. A whiny voice echoed in her head. Why'd you wake up so soon? You promised you'd listen to my story. A faint noise came from outside the door. Beija's breath caught in her throat. Fitz was standing in the doorway, his eyes filled with a worry he couldn't hide. For a second, the air felt like it turned to ice. Fitz's face was just filled with concern. Beija? He rushed to her side, putting his hands on her shoulders to steady her. Beija, are you hurt anywhere? Are you dizzy? Beija shook her head. No, I'm fine. She looked down at her hands. Come to think of it, I fell pretty hard during that explosion, but I don't feel any pain. She looked up at Fitz. How long was I out? Have years gone by? Fitz's expression was completely calm. It's been 5 hours. A blush crept onto Beija's cheeks. Oh, that is so embarrassing. Fitz took her hand. As long as you're not hurt, that's all that matters. He bowed his head and gently kissed the back of her hand. Master Fitz looked up, his eyes meeting hers. I was so worried in that moment. Beija's heart totally skipped a beat. Whoa, the explosion. She yanks her hand back like it's on fire. I am so sorry. How much is this gonna cost me? Like for wrecking your whole study? Fitz just looks at her totally confused. What are you even talking about? Beija's all frantic, like I totally blew that room up. But Fitz just shakes his head. The study is completely fine. Seriously, go check it out if you don't believe me. So Beija immediately tries to jump out of bed. Okay, I'm going right now, but Fitz like lightning wraps her up in a blanket. You literally just woke up. Don't even think about moving. Just rest. Then Fitz looks over at the maid by the door and says, Mary, stick with Miss Beija and make sure she's okay. The maid gives a little bow. Of course, master. Beija totally objects. Hey, wait a sec. But Fitz just smoothly closes the door and turns to his assistant Alistair. He gives him a look and the assistant totally gets it. Yes, master. Flashback time. The assistant is reporting to Fitz everyone from the mansion is in the study. The staff is scrambling to clean up the disaster. Fitz's voice is low. Good work. I want that study looking perfect before Beija wakes up. Cut back to the present and Mary's asking sweetly, Miss Beija, would you like me to read to you? Beija, who's basically a human burrito right now, is totally struggling. Let me out of here. Fast forward a few days and the capital's morning sun is hitting the Duke's mansion. Mary just gasps. Whoa, Miss Beija. There's Beija looking amazing in an olive green dress with a string of pearls. She's got this cute blush on her cheeks and a sparkle in her eyes she didn't have before. Mary clasps her hands, just totally in awe. You look absolutely stunning. Beija turns a real smile on her face. Thanks, Mary. Mary does a little curtsy. It's my pleasure. This is my first time ever going to the capital. So the official reason is we're getting supplies for the investigation. It's a tiny job a servant could do, but when I let it slip that I'd never seen the capital, Fitz just looked at me and was like, let's go together. He actually decided to take me himself. I've been so swamped with work, a trip to the capital felt totally impossible. Beija can't stop the smile from spreading across her face. Okay, I'm actually kind of freaking out with excitement. Then she hears footsteps outside. Fitz shows up in the doorway wearing this cool hooded cloak. Beija, I'm here for you. Under the hood, Fitz's face is calm and collected with this sick purple gem on his cloak sparkling. Beija says softly, Master Fitz. And Fitz just freezes. His eyes are locked on her and he's not moving. Beija's a little confused, tilting her head. After a super long pause, his expression softens. You're beautiful. Beija's face gets so hot she's sure it's glowing. She looks down. Thank you. Mary puffs out her chest all proud. Well, it is a young lady's first date after all. Of course I had to make sure she looked the part. Beija is a mix of shy and totally flustered, while Mary just waves them off with a big smile. Okay, you two have an amazing time. The streets of the capital are packed and buzzing with energy. Beija's eyes go wide. Everything is just so alive. Wow, the sun's out, flower petals are floating in the air. It's like a whole new world is opening up. Beija's eyes totally light up when she spots it. A fountain. Over there, she grabs Fitz's arm, her eyes sparkling with pure joy. Come on, let's go see it, she says, way too excited to wait. Her smile is literally brighter than the sun. She gives his arm a little tug. Come on, hurry. As Fitz watches her run ahead, a small smile plays on his lips without him even realizing it. The mist from the fountain is sparkling and clear. Beija just lets out an amazed gasp. Wow. She turns to share the moment with Lord Fitz, but he's looking at something else. A figure with bright red hair is walking right toward them. The woman stops right in front of them. Well, I knew it was you, Lord Fitz. Fitz looks genuinely surprised. Beija's thinking, how did she know it was him with that hood on, and a pit of doubt forms in her stomach. The woman does this formal little curtsy. I am Jane Ellen, the second daughter of Count Ellen. It's an honor. Jane's stare is super sharp and direct. Her eyes flick from Fitz to Beija, giving her a serious once-over. And this is... Beija answers politely. Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm Beija. A smug little smile spreads across Jane's face. So you're the bride everyone's been whispering about. Beija just freezes. Bride, wait, has he been telling people about me? Cut to a flashback of the Duke at some party raising a glass and bragging about it for like a solid half hour. Jane's voice snaps Beija back to the present. My lord, my family sent a letter a few days ago. Did you get a chance to read it? Fitz's reply is short and icy. No. Jane's face gets instantly serious. People have been going missing from our southern lands. It's happening over and over. We need your help. Fitz just listens deep in thought. Jane's eyes sweep over Beija again, totally judging her. But if you do come, my lord, I expect you'll come alone. Fitz tilts his head a little. And why is that? A nasty little smirk plays on Jane's lips. Surely you're not planning on bringing your fiancé. A place like that is far too dangerous for a delicate little lady. She snaps her fan shut and uses it to lift Beija's chin. To be honest, she looks like she can barely take care of herself. Fitz's hand shoots out and grabs the fan. Miss. His grip is like iron. His eyes are pure ice. What did you just say? The whole vibe just freezes. People around them start whispering. What's going on? Are they about to fight? Beija cuts in a totally innocent smile on her face. So anyway, Miss Ellen, what brings you to the capital today? Jane looks super annoyed. My carriage broke down. The driver is completely useless and has no idea how to fix it, so I'm stuck. Beija just smiles sweetly. Oh, I see. Wow, the sun is really strong today. You wouldn't want to get heat stroke, Miss Ellen. Anyway, we still have some shopping to do. How about our coachman takes her home, Jane thought, totally scheming. If I use the Duke's carriage, I'll have a perfect excuse to see him again. She shot back a smirk. Beija, I totally see what she's trying to pull. Beija announced, Miss Ellen, our coachman will take you home. Jane put on her best fake smile. Oh wow, thank you seriously. Beija glanced at the coachman. Gilbert, you can take this lady back. Gilbert just said, yes, miss. Jane climbed in. The carriage was seriously gorgeous, all lit up in this golden light. It looked straight out of a painting. The coachman grabbed the reins. All right, giddy up. He cracked his whip and the carriage suddenly jolted forward, starting to shake like crazy. Jane totally screamed. She was totally freaking out, her hair flying everywhere. What is going on? The carriage was swerving all over the road, completely out of control. Beija covered his mouth, trying so hard not to laugh. He turned to Lord Fitz and asked, how long you think it'll take her to get home? Fitz just watched the carriage go, his expression totally unreadable. I don't know, and I don't care. Far away, the carriage was still bucking like crazy, with Jane screaming her head off and the coachman looking totally lost. Anyway, time passed. The day before the big investigation, Beija was sorting through papers on his desk and let out a little sigh. Things are finally chilling out a little. He glanced up and saw Fitz sitting nearby. My lord, you dropped a paper. Fitz snapped out of it. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Beija walked over to him. You haven't been sleeping, have you? If you're tired, you should really get some rest. Fitz just looked at him. I'm fine. It's nothing I can't handle. Beija looked down, clasping his hands together. But I'm still worried about you. Fitz was quiet for a second, then said his name softly. Hey, Beija. He was staring at his own hands. Give me your hand. Beija was confused, like, my hand, what for? Something slid from Fitz's fingers and landed softly in his palm. Beija looked down. Wait, is this? His eyes widened in surprise. A piece of chocolate was just sitting there in its wrapper. I figured you might get tired during practice, so I brought this. Beija looked at how exhausted Fitz was. He's the one who needs someone to take care of him, he thought. The room was super quiet. Fitz noticed how quiet he was. Beija, you okay? He suddenly looked up, and his eyes had this intense look Beija had never seen before. My lord. It felt like the whole world stopped and it was just the two of them. Beija's voice was a little shaky. Can you give me your hand? A light blush crept onto Fitz's cheeks. He looked pretty confused. After a second, Fitz held out his hand. Here. Beija carefully took it in both of his. A warm light started glowing from his palm. This gentle energy, kinda like warm water, flowed into Fitz's body. Beija let go. How do you feel? Fitz stretched his wrist. The exhaustion was totally gone. I feel way better. Thank you. Fitz looked right at him. Beija, you need to rest too. It's gonna be a crazy few days. Seriously, you don't need to worry about me. I'm eating and sleeping just fine. I'm way more worried about you, my lord. You always look so worn out. Fitz was quiet for a beat and then he dropped a bombshell. Beija, I don't sleep. Beija shot straight up. What? Fitz's face was calm. You know my magic is way beyond a normal person's. The more power you have, the stronger your body gets. It doesn't get hurt easily and it doesn't age. Beija's eyes were wide with disbelief. So you're saying you literally don't have to sleep? Fitz's answer was short and to the point. Basically, yeah. Beija tilted his head. A flicker of doubt showed in his eyes. I have a feeling it's not that simple. Something's not right here. Fitz didn't offer any more details. Either way, that's just how it is. The next morning it was super sunny. A bunch of them were all gathered on the steps of the mansion ready to go. Fitz was at the front scanning the group. Is everyone here? 3 of them answered at once. Yes. Fitz looked super serious. This is our first real investigation. We're probably going to run into some unexpected stuff. If you see anything weird, you report it right away. He then turned to Beija. Especially you, Beija. He gently took his hand, and Beija could feel the warmth spread through his palm. But if you get scared or feel weird about anything or get into any trouble, you have to come find me. Got it? Beija broke into a huge smile, pumping his fists in front of his chest. Of course, don't you worry. I gave a nod. All right, let's roll. The town square was packed, totally buzzing with the noise of a festival. Mary looked all around. Are we sure this is the right spot? It feels super weird to have a festival in a place where so much crime is going down. Alistair explained. This spot is actually really well known to the locals because it's always so crowded. Some people here probably have no clue what's been going on. Fitz's brow wrinkled a little. But I still feel like something's not right. He stroked his chin, thinking. From what I know, most of the people vanished from this square. With this many people around, snatching someone seems almost impossible, Alistair added. Or maybe the festival itself is the trap. Just then a voice broke Fitz's concentration. Whoa! Beija's eyes were literally sparkling. Fitz looked over at him. Well, since we're here, you want to check out the festival for a bit? Beija's eyes got even wider. Really, I can. The stalls were filled with all kinds of cool little things. A guy handed him some cotton candy shaped like a rabbit. Beija held it up and turned back to Lord Fitz. Oh, do you want to bite? Fitz immediately went rigid. He jerked his head to the side, and for a second he looked totally panicked. Beija's face fell a little. Are you not having a good time? Fitz totally looked away. Whatever. Don't worry about me. I've been to places like this like a ton of times. Alistair leaned in close to Beija. Hey, Beija, don't let that pretty face fool you. Alistair kept whispering. When Fitz was a kid, he was a total runaway. He didn't chill out until he met you. Fitz shut him down. That's not what happened. He stared off into space. I just like to explore. I was searching for something, that's why I was always on the move. Beija asked, curious. What were you looking for? His mind drifted back to a field of flowers. A little boy looking up at a girl with like shimmering silver hair. I was looking for someone I met a long, long time ago. Someone seriously beautiful, Beija said softly. Oh, I guess everyone has a first love, right? For some reason, Beija's chest suddenly ached. Ugh, why does my heart hurt like this? The sky went dark, filled with stars. And they'd come up empty. Fitz looked over at Beija, who was just sitting on a bench. You've been through a lot today, Beija. Alistair and Mary still aren't back. Let's go find a place to crash for the night. They walked into an inn, and a little bell on the door jingled. Welcome. 30 minutes later, Fitz was totally frowning. Seriously, you're all booked up, the innkeeper explained. That's right, just one room left, and good luck finding anything else with the festival going on. Alistair suggested, hey, why don't you two just share? Mary and I can find a spot outside of town. Besides, Beija looks totally wiped. Fitz glanced at Beija. If you're not cool with it, you can just take the room. I don't really sleep anyway. Beija looked at Fitz's exhausted face. He looked completely drained. He made a decision. Let's share the room. Fitz was totally shocked. Wait, what? Together, seriously? Alistair and Mary gasped super loudly. Beija was blushing like crazy, but he sounded sure of himself. The room? We'll share it. Fitz sat on the bed looking a little stiff. Beija came out of the bathroom and called out softly, My lord! Fitz's stomach dropped. He was in a pink bathrobe, his hair still dripping wet. Thanks for letting me use the shower first. His cheeks were all flushed from the steam. It's your turn now. Before he could even finish, Fitz just collapsed backward onto the bed. Beija gasped. He ran over to the bed. Lord Fitz, wake up. He was just lying there, totally out cold, his eyes shut tight. Moonlight streamed through the window, and the whole town was quiet. Beija gently wiped his face with a cloth. Fitz looked down and started to say something. That was... Beija took his hand, sounding a little scolding. See, this is exactly why I said you needed to actually rest. Fitz's eyes softened. Sorry. He sounded really worried. You're going to make yourself sick doing this. Fitz just replied calmly. Beija, trust me, I've lived long enough. Beija stared at him like, what? But you're like in your early 20s. Those words hit him hard. This is seriously not good. Beija's forehead creased with worry. He made up his mind. I need to check something. Beija leaned in and put his head on his chest. Fitz totally tensed up. A blush crept up Fitz's cheeks, but Beija looked super focused. My lord, this is so weird. I can't hear a heartbeat. He suddenly shoved him back, his face still burning. This is all your fault, Beija. He looked totally confused. What? Fitz just leaned his head on Beija's shoulder, his voice kinda raspy. You have to take responsibility for this. Marry me. Then we're even. The whole room went dead silent. Beija touched his forehead. He was shocked by how hot it felt. Fitz, oh my god, you're burning up. His cheeks were a feverish red. Beija immediately knew what to do. Okay, I'm gonna get a wet cloth. But Fitz held onto him like a little kid. He mumbled, "Don't go." Beija looked down at him. He just buried his face in Beija's chest like he was trying to get warm. Beija's expression softened. So, he's actually kinda cute like this. Moonlight spilled through the window, lighting up the guy he was taking care of. The night wore on, the stars moved across the sky, and time just drifted. Then the morning birds started singing. Beija stirred with a soft sound. Fitz's voice, all sleepy and low, was right by his ear. "You awake, Beija?" His face was right there. Beija's eyes flew open. "Wait, did we fall asleep like this?" Fitz was hugging him from behind. He whispered right by his ear, "Good morning. Am I just imagining things?" His own cheeks felt warm, and Fitz's purple eyes still looked a little hazy. He looks way better than he did yesterday. Their eyes locked, and suddenly the whole vibe in the room shifted. Suddenly the door flew open. Alistair burst in. "Lord Fitz." He froze in the doorway, looking super awkward. Sorry to interrupt whatever this is, but something urgent came up." Fitz took the paper and looked it over with Beija. The invitation said, "Looking for some quality family time. The place was Owen Lake, rumor has it grants eternal life." Beija's eyes narrowed. "This seems super sketchy," Fitz agreed in a low voice. "Yeah, and Owen Lake of all places. Some noble used to own that lake, but it got taken away because he was into some shady stuff. At least that's the official story. And Owen also happens to be the name of the Earl of Devon." He held out a box with a scroll inside. Alistair looked worried. "Yeah, but there's a catch. The invite says it's for families with kids only. And let's be real, people would only buy that a kid from someone as stunning as Beija would be, a total knockout too." Fitz said quietly, "If only Beija wasn't so ridiculously good-looking." Fitz finally broke the silence. "There's only one thing we can do," he added, "but you have to be okay with it." Beija looked up at him. "What is it?" Fitz's expression got super serious. "You'd have to," Fitz started slowly, "you'd have to become a kid." B was totally floored. "Huh, and then I'll—" Fitz lifted his hand. With a soft asterisk poof asterisk, a puff of smoke just vanished. He finished, "Step in as your big brother." His eyes had this soft glow, and a hopeful smile played on his lips like a flower getting ready to bloom. Fitz made up his mind. "All right, let's go with this plan." "B, I'm ready," he said, his voice firm. Mary the maid let out a little cheer from the side. A hand gently rested on his head. A warm white light washed over him, wrapping him up completely. The light flooded the room, then pulled back like the tide. Everything went quiet again. A much younger voice spoke up. How do I look?" Beige asked, sounding a little shaky. His cheeks were round and full, and his long silver hair was all fluffy and soft. "Did I for real get younger?" The maid Mary let out to squeal. Alistair stared at her, completely shocked. "Oh my god, he's so adorable!" Mary yelled, totally freaking out. Fitz immediately rushed forward, his face full of concern. "Beige, are you okay? Does anything feel weird?" Beige tugged at his sleeves, which were way too big now. The clothes are a little huge," he answered in a tiny voice. Fitz's whole expression changed in a flash, his eyes narrowing like he'd just seen some old ugly mark. "This is—" Fitz grabbed his arm with both hands, his gaze totally locked on it. Beige started to feel a little flustered. "No, it's nothing." His voice was low. "Was it your adoptive parents?" Beige sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, "Yes." Fitz let out a soft, heavy sigh. Beige looked up at him. Asterisk, is he mad? Asterisk? Fitz stood up. Beige had no idea what to do. Fitz just pulled him into a hug. Beige totally froze. Asterisk, whoa, Lord Fitz. He held him tighter, his voice gentle but firm. "Beige, you've been through way too much." His words hit him right in the heart. Beige leaned against his shoulder, feeling this sudden warmth. He tried to push him away. "I'm seriously fine." But his tears didn't get the memo, just sliding down his face. The tip of his nose started to sting. "Really, I'm fine," he repeated in a small voice, but his little sobs totally gave him away. Late that night, he was finally passed out with tear tracks still on his cheeks. Fitz stood by the bed, just watching him sleep. The moonlight carved out his determined profile. The gentleness in his eyes slowly hardened into ice. "Alistair," he asked quietly from outside the door, "is Miss Beija asleep?" Fitz shut the door. "Yes, so what's the plan for them, Lord Fitz?" Alistair's voice was dead serious. Fitz's eyes were like chips of ice. "They have to go. Permanently. That way, even if I'm not around, they can never hurt Beija again." Fitz's voice snapped him back to reality. "There's one more thing to handle." Alistair looked at him. "What is it, my lord?" "Remember that silverite mine you found a few days ago?" Fitz said it so casually. "Give the whole thing to Beija." Alistair was completely speechless. His brain just shut down and he froze right there. Alistair finally choked out, "What?" Fitz cut him off immediately. "Quiet. You'll wake Beija." The carriage rolled through the woods. Alistair's voice was full of disbelief. "I've told you like a million times. Even if you give the entire silverite mine to Miss Beija, it's not going to make him happy." Fitz held the sleeping Beija, his eyes never leaving his face. He shot back, "And how are you so sure?" Beige was resting on his shoulder, his breathing soft and even completely clueless that he was the center of their argument. Beige slowly opened his eyes. He blinked, and found himself in a field of flowers that went on forever. Asterisk, am I dreaming? Asterisk. The breeze blew and petals rained down. A voice came from behind him. Who are you? He turned and saw a boy with black hair standing there quietly. His expression was serious. You're on my family's property now. That face. Beija's heart did a flip. It's Lord Fitz. But the boy was the one asking the questions. Answer me. Who are you? He couldn't find the words. My name is... His memory was all foggy, like it was covered in a thin mist. The boy sized him up. That name doesn't fit you. Beija was a little curious. Really, then what does... He stared right at him, his own reflection in the boy's eyes. Beija. That name suits you best. Asterisk. Why Beija asterisk, he wondered. It was like the boy read his mind. What, you don't like it? He shook his head. No, I like it. Beige smiled and hugged him tight. He seemed kind of clingy. A voice whispered right by his ear. Beija. He tilted his head a little. The boy gave him a brilliant smile. You're mine, right? He said it with this total certainty you couldn't argue with. His eyes got deep. I'm yours, Beija. You'll come back for me, won't you? The sea of flowers started to fade away. The world was falling apart in front of him, leaving just the sound of his name being called. Beija, Beija. A familiar voice pulled him from the dream. Beija, we're here. Fitz's voice was right by his ear. Beige slowly opened his eyes. He sat up, looking around, totally confused. Where am I? The view outside the window made him gasp. An endless field of crystals glittered with a soft blue light under the sun. The carriage stopped right in the middle of the crystals, like it had driven straight into a dream. Why did you bring me here? There was a smile in Fitz's voice. I was originally planning on giving you this silverite mine. He remembered Alistair's protest. But that would just cause a ton of trouble for Miss Beija. He helped him out of the carriage and explained, actually, that's not what's happening. My father just bought this mine. Since it's near the village we're looking into, I figured I'd bring you to see it. Beige let out a genuine sigh of awe. It's so beautiful. He reached out his hand. Can I touch it? Fitz answered softly. Of course you can. His fingertips brushed against the cool crystal like he was touching a sparkling dream. Fitz's voice was so gentle. All that silver magic is yours now, Beige. You can take as much as you want. Beija stared at his glowing palm. Thanks, but I'm not sure my body can handle anymore. Fitz stepped closer. You know that rumor? The one that says if you stick close to someone with major magic, your own powers get a boost. He answered quietly. Yeah, but neither you nor Alistair can use magic. Fitz gently tilted his face up. It's not just about being around them. There has to be actual contact. Fitz softly nuzzled his nose, his warm breath ghosting over his skin. The whole vibe between them totally changed. Beija, we've had a lot of contact, haven't we? He barely whispered, yeah. Fitz stood at the edge of the cliff, taking in the whole mine below. So you don't want this place? Beija's voice was quiet. I do, but I don't want to owe you anything else. A small smile touched Fitz's lips. Then I guess I'll just have to secretly sign it over to you. You'll put it to better use than I ever would. Just as the words left his mouth, everything around them started to crumble. The world went pitch black. Beige panicked, shouting, My lord, Lord Fitz! His voice echoed in the void, but he got nothing back. He was completely alone in the dark, the only source of light anywhere. It's so dark. But for some reason, I'm not afraid at all. He slowly started to move forward. A door just materialized in the darkness. Beija peeked through the crack. Hello? Beyond the door was an endless void with books and papers swirling around like stars and dust. A soft female voice echoed around him. If you're looking for something, why not search for it? Beige jumped. Wait, this is real. Who are you? The woman answered, her voice completely calm. No one can interfere here. This is the library. The gods created a record of everything in the world from forever ago. Beige was floored. Wait, so gods are actually real? The woman's voice was firm. Of course. And Fitz and Beija were real people too. Hope flashed in Beija's eyes. So if everything is recorded here, does that mean I can look up anything I want? The woman's voice replied. Most things, yes. This is my only chance to find out about my birth parents, he thought. But then he remembered hearing some villagers talking. Hey, did you hear Duke Russell is searching for a doctor who can cure his sickness? With his money and title, he's probably seen all the best doctors. But if none of them can cure him, it must be something really bad. He pictured Duke Russell's kind, smiling face. He could almost hear him whisper, My dear. Beija's face filled with determination. I have to find a way to cure Duke Russell. Just then, a red-covered book floated toward him. Knowing this was it, he reached out and snatched it from the air. The pages flipped open all on their own. It read, Duke Russell, the current head of the house, deeply cares for his son-in-law Beija, his health condition. He flipped past another page. The writing was weird and confusing. He kept going, but his fingers froze on a specific page. He went rigid, staring at something unbelievable. He has 2 sons. Beige was trembling all over. What? Fitz's voice yanked him back to reality. Fitz was holding him tight, his eyes full of concern. Beija, are you okay? He answered in a tiny voice. I'm fine. Fitz frowned a little. I called your name a few times, but you were totally out of it. Beige dropped his gaze. Oh, sorry, I was just lost in thought. He went quiet again. 2 sons. He looked up at Fitz's profile. He probably wouldn't tell me the truth even if I asked. Fitz stared into the distance. Let's go back, Beige said quietly. Okay. The next day, the little market street was getting super crowded. Fitz grabbed Beija's hand. It's really crowded today. Make sure you hold on tight. Beija nodded. I will. He looked around at the mob. Wow, there are way more people here than I thought. A little kid was following them, his steps super light. All of a sudden, a small hand grabbed his. Huh. Beija turned around. A boy with light hair was looking up, staring right at him. Who are you? The kid suddenly beamed a smile as bright as the sun. Hi. Beige was a little thrown off. Hello. The boy looked a little shy. You're like really pretty. A sudden chill came from next to him. Fitz's eyes had gone ice cold. He glared daggers at the little boy, but the kid didn't seem to care at all. He just kept his eyes on Beija. Can we be friends? Fitz reached out and gently covered Beija's eyes, telling the boy, Sorry, kid. Beija already has a boyfriend. The boy just gave him a huge smile. But that's okay. Fitz was stunned. What? Beija gave Fitz's arm a little pat, like he was trying to calm him down, and then asked the kid, Where are your parents? My parents are busy today, so I came out for a walk alone, but then I got lost. Fitz stared at him. You shouldn't be out here without a grown-up. The kid seemed totally unfazed. It's okay. I've lived here my whole life. A voice shouted from somewhere in the crowd. Entry is about to start, Beige told the boy. Sorry, but we're busy right now. We can't play. The kid's face fell. Really? Fitz's face darkened, but the boy just moved in closer and took Beija's hand. Then we can play together later. The kid pointed toward a gorgeous temple up on a hill. I live in that temple. You have to come visit me, okay? Beija nestled in Fitz's arms, smiled and nodded. Okay, I will. A worker walked up to them. Excuse me, are you two entering together? Fitz and Beija, yes. The staffer kept going. And your names? Beija jumped in first. My name's Beija, and this is my older brother. He shot a playful wink. The staff member just smiled. You two seem to have a great relationship. Go ahead inside. They walked down a sun-dappled path, Fitz carrying Beija in his arms. There was a weird feeling in the air. A gust of wind blew and a whole new view opened up before them. The lake was totally sparkling under the sun, but it was weirdly empty, like way fewer people than you'd expect. Staff were actually turning tourists away. It looked like only kids who were alone, or ones nobody would notice if they went poof, were allowed in. Beige got so mad his face turned bright red. He balled up his little fists. Those jerks, Beige fumed. My lord, we've got to catch whoever's behind this and lock them up. Fitz's voice was super calm but serious. No doubt. Then some staff guy walked up to them. So what do you think of the lake? Beige was instantly mesmerized by the view. It's so huge and pretty and all sparkly. The staff guy grinned. Glad you're into it. But honestly, the lake isn't even the best part. There's a ton of other cool stuff to see. Beija's eyes totally lit up. Whoa, I have to see. But Fitz's heart started hammering. This is sketchy. The guy turned to lead the way. Right this way, he added. Anyone else who's curious can come along too. The two kids glanced at each other. Should we? Let's do it. Suddenly, this huge mansion was right in front of them. Fitz eyed the guy. A mansion out here, seriously? The man shoved open these massive doors. Here we are? The group headed up the stairs, their footsteps echoing like crazy in the empty place. Then the guy turned around. He had this super creepy smile on his face. Fun fact, Owen Lake is gorgeous now, but way back when this place was famous for all kinds of ghost stories, Beige asked in a small voice. Like what kind of ghost stories? The man pointed off in the distance. You saw that temple by the lake on your way in, right? The story goes they used to worship some weird god there. They even did like live human sacrifices. Beige gave a little shiver in Fitz's arms. He looked up. What's a live human sacrifice? The man's voice got low and spooky. They say it was to bring their god back to life. A fuzzy image flashed in his mind. Super devoted followers and people praying for their lives. Beija's eyes narrowed. So why bring this up now? The man gave a little smirk like he was impressed. Sharp one, aren't you, little miss? But the weirdest part? Even with all that messed up stuff happening so close, Owen Lake was always totally fine. Any idea why? Fitz pulled Beige in closer. Beige snapped back. How am I supposed to know? The man got that mysterious smile again. The answer. He slowly pulled something out of his coat. Is right here. He held his hand out to Beige. It was a... Beige leaned in to see better. A lucky charm. A charm shaped like the little pink pig. The guy started going on and on. That's right. This is a magic charm. If you carry this, it'll keep all the bad vibes away and bring you good luck. It can even wipe out 3 generations of bad karma. He held up the charm. Anyone who buys one can see for themselves. It's a miracle. Fitz totally cut him off. We're leaving. This is a total scam. He said to Beige, stay close to me. Betty. The guy just stood there totally shocked. The other kids started whispering to each other. Let's bounce too. They all started to leave. Yeah, let's bail. Beige in his arms. So lame. Beige stared off into space. But there's still one thing that's bugging me. Is it that Temple A man stood all alone behind cold iron bars staring at the robes of the priests? A priest bowed. Father Colin, the ritual is all set. Father Colin didn't even turn. Excellent. The followers all dropped to the ground waiting for the signal. Father Colin's voice rang out again. Their whispers all blended together into a roar for their god. A hand reached for the sky for the glowing nebula. Great Mises. Moonlight lit up the path to the temple. Beige was walking all by himself. A quiet voice called from behind him. Betty. He stopped. The boy stepped out of the shadows. He opened his arms and gave him a huge hug. You actually came to see me. Beige's cheeks got a little pink and mumbled something. The boy let go his eyes, totally curious. Where's that big dude who was with you? Beige had no idea what to say. His mind flashed back to an hour ago. Fitz carried Beige into the room. We're back. Alistair came over to meet them. Judging by your face, it didn't go so great. Fitz slumped into a chair. Yeah. He let out a huge sigh and looked at him. He must be so wiped. I mean, he has to run around investigating all day and then deal with tons of paperwork all night. You can't even be mad at him. Beige knelt on the floor, his heart hurting. I wish I could do something to help. Then an idea popped into his head. If I check out the temple and show him what I find, maybe he'll cheer up a little. So when everyone was totally asleep, I snuck out by myself and came to the temple. Beige took the boy's hand. I gave him the slip. The boy nodded. Gotcha. A figure showed up behind them. Enoch, Father Colin said quietly. Beige totally froze. He looked up. This guy is... Who's the girl? Beige stared at the man in front of him. Red eyes. Okay, this guy's a total villain, but not gonna lie, he's kinda cute. Beige stepped up and held out his hand. My name is Betty. I'm a friend of Enoch's. We should shake. The man led them inside the temple. They were surrounded by people in cloaks. Beige thought it was weird. There are so many people here. Is something big happening today? A priest came up. Father, we're all set. Colin nodded. Good. Beige looked at them totally confused. Ready for what? He got a bad feeling. Something is definitely not right. He stared at the man in front of him. The man turned his head. Why are you staring at me like that? Beige explained. Oh, I was just wondering about something. He took a deep breath and asked, Father, what's your name? He was quiet for a second. The huge main doors creaked open and light poured in. My name is Callan. The name Callan sounds familiar. Beige was lost in thought. All the followers knelt down at the exact same time, bowing super low to the altar. Beija stared at the coffin up there. Who's that god? Callan answered. We worship Mrs. the god of trade. Is everyone here a believer? Yep. So as the god of trade, he must be good luck for business, right? Callan laughed. Not exactly. We give him offerings, and in return he hooks us up with powers or grants any wish we have. Wait, does that mean those people? Yeah, they're today's offerings. What happens to the people who are offered? Callan's face was a total blank. Well, the methods have changed over time, but they all end up gone. Beija felt sick to his stomach. Enoch whispered in his ear, Don't even worry. You'll never be an offering, Miss Betty. Callan turned back around. I mentioned it before. Didn't I? You're a dead ringer for someone I know. You mean Beija? Callan's eyes got all soft. Yeah, so you know him too. Mrs. and Beija were best buds. NGL, that's part of why I brought you here. Miss Betty. Beija tried to pull away, but Colin's grip was like steel. Just having someone who looks like him around makes him happy. Callan held Beija in a death grip. The followers raised their hands, chanting some dark spell. Red energy just poured out of their bodies, all flowing to the altar. The figure in the coffin started glowing like crazy. If I just stand here and do nothing, they're gonna be history. I have to do something. Beija spun around and yelled at Enoch. Enoch, go hide! Enoch was totally stunned. Huh. Hurry, Beija insisted. Enoch's eyes darted around before he ducked behind a pillar. Okay. Callan looked at Beija, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He looked at Father Colin. The Beija I knew would never be friends with someone so demanding. A crazy amount of power just exploded from Beija. Callan's eyes flew wide open. A massive energy blast. The force slammed into Callan, sending him flying backward. My body's so light, I'm floating. Just as he was about to crash, a pair of strong arms caught him. Beija opened his eyes. Lord Fitz. Fitz's face was covered in shadows, his expression impossible to read, but the arms holding him were shaking just a little. He lowered his head, his voice packed with barely controlled rage. What are you doing here? Beija stared at his clenched jaw, completely speechless. Do you have any idea how freaked out I was? He pulled him into a crushing hug, like he was trying to make him part of his own body. His deep eyes were filled with leftover fear and heartbreak. Beija looked up at him from the embrace, his amethyst eyes filling with tears. My lord. Fitz let out a long breath. His warm hand rested on the back of his head, his thumb gently stroking his hair, a soft way of making sure he was really there. Beija hugged him back tightly, his voice super quiet. I'm sorry. A totally ill-timed voice piped up. Mary stood in the doorway looking super awkward. Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. She pointed at the two people kneeling behind her. What should we do with these two? They seem totally out of it. Fitz's expression went ice cold again. Take them outside for now. We need to question them. Mary took the order. Yes, my lord. Beija was still in Fitz's arms. He asked quietly, Did Father Colin get away? A small figure ran in. It was Enoch. He bolted toward Beija, tears streaming down his face, his voice cracking. Betty, my parents. They're both gone. His small body was shaking. He looked up at Fitz. What do I do now? I'm completely alone. Beija's heart ached for him. He turned to Fitz, his eyes pleading. My lord, can we please let Enoch stay at the ducal house for now? Fitz's gaze landed on him. After a quiet moment, he said, I'll allow it, but only because you're the one asking. Fitz's eyes then shifted to the boy, his tone leaving no room for argument. You better thank Beija, kid. Thank you, Beija. Beija answered softly. Of course, we'll see each other again. The moonlight washed over them, and everything was finally calm. Fitz spoke. We should get going. Beija whispered. Okay. Fitz scooped him up and walked through the moonlit courtyard, his footsteps echoing in the quiet. He held him securely, but the vibe felt a little off. Beija was lost in his own head, replaying how Fitz had been earlier. That anger he'd never seen before, his voice tight with fear. Do you have any idea how worried I was? Beija dropped his head, his hands clenched over his heart. This is all my fault. He'd ignored the truth, totally blinded by kindness he didn't even deserve, just soaking up fake praise. He was so dumb to think that someone like him could save everyone, getting all excited just because his healing magic got a little better. He turned his face away, shame burning his cheeks. How pathetic! He finally worked up the courage and whispered, I'm sorry. Fitz's gaze didn't waver. Beija went on, I shouldn't have gotten so carried away and made you worry about me. He lifted his face, his eyes swimming with guilt. I'm just a burden to you, my lord. Fitz gently set him down, then knelt on one knee to be on his level. Beija, why would you ever think that? Beija looked down, avoiding his gentle eyes. Beija kept his head low, his voice barely audible. I can't think of any other reason you'd be that furious. Fitz gently took his hand. The grip was light but firm. He looked right at him. Beija, I'm sorry too. Beija looked up, totally surprised. Why are you apologizing? The thought of maybe losing you? That thought is like a black hole. The fear makes me shake. I couldn't control myself even though you're the one who went through so much more. Beija shook his head. It's not like that. It's all because I went off on my own. He kept his head down as a tear slipped down his cheek. I'm sorry, so please, I'm begging you. Don't hate me. Fitz's voice was gentle but absolute. I could never hate you. Beija. Beige looked up, his eyes all watery. How can you be so sure? I mean, people's feelings are a mess. He turned back to face him, their eyes locking. Well, maybe I'm not people. Beija was totally floored. What? Fitz's voice, it was super quiet but clear. I love you. He looked right at him, his eyes holding nothing but pure honesty. It felt like the whole world just stopped. Beija, I've been into you for like way longer than you could ever guess. Fitz's voice was almost begging. Please, just don't say stuff like that anymore. He gave him this soft look. It seriously hurts me. Beija's heart totally did a flip. Lord Fitz, literally the kindest, most amazing guy on the planet, is whispering that he loves him, and that Beija's words are hurting him. Like, who wouldn't just melt? Oh no, I think I'm starting to fall for Lord Fitz for real. Fitz just chilled, giving him space to let it all sink in. The next day, back in the room, two people stood in front of Beija and Fitz, throwing their hands up and yelling, Hooray! Bee took a deep breath. Okay, let's do this. She lightly bopped the people on the forehead with her fist. One by one, there was this little asterisk thwack asterisk. The people started coming to, looking all confused. What was I just doing? Where am I? And what's up with this outfit? Fitz wrapped his arm around Beija, a small smile on his face. Looks like hitting them with healing magic actually works. Fitz turned to Mary. Get the ones who are awake over to the manor. We gotta ask them some questions. Mary replied, super respectful. You got it, my lord. Reporting in. We found something else at the temple. When the floor cracked open, the big statue shattered with it. And this thing was hidden inside. Beija's stomach dropped. This creepy red orb was right there in front of her. Fitz held it out. You feel that? Beija nodded. Yeah. A totally gross vibe washed over her. This vibe is so weird. It's definitely not magic. This has to be the thing that was controlling those people. Fitz's voice was ice cold. Exactly. Figuring out this orb is the key to cracking this whole kidnapping case. Beija let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Well, at least it's a lead. Fitz's expression softened. A lead, Beija, this is a huge break and we only found it because of you. Beija's cheeks got a little pink. I'm back. Alistair stepped forward. My lord, I think we should head out. Fitz nodded. All right, let's bounce. Beija asked, Is that everything? A little smile played on Fitz's lips. He held Beija's face in his hands. There's one more super important thing. And that thing was, the whole manor was lit up. Beija, now in a stunning dress, just stared at everything, completely shocked. My birthday party. The Duke was grinning from ear to ear. Yep, sweetie. We're throwing you a bash that'll put the royals to shame. Bea was thinking, this is so extra. Beige just gave a weak smile. Your Grace, I grew up in an orphanage. I have no idea when my birthday actually is. The Duke cupped his face, looking totally captivated. If you don't know, we'll just pick a day to celebrate, he announced like it was no big deal. Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Beige thought, he says that so casually. She gave a little curtsy, trying to be as nice about it as possible. Your Grace, this is seriously way too much. If I don't put my foot down, he's just not going to get it. She turned away and crossed her arms. For you to just decide my birthday? To be honest, it's kind of weird. It finally clicked for the Duke. I didn't think of that. Beija let out a quiet sigh of relief. Right, so we can just call off the party. A fire lit up in the Duke's eyes. Since I was so thoughtless about your feelings, my lady, I'll have to make it up to you with even more passion. Beija's hopes were totally crushed. That doesn't even make any sense. She and Fitz were sitting on the couch. He sighed. He looked at Beija and explained quietly, he just wants you to relax and have a good time. Beige looked down, a little bit of sadness in her purple eyes. But I'm going to be leaving soon. Is it really okay for me to accept all of this from them? The Duke's voice was gentle. My dear, do you really not want a birthday party? He just looked at her. If you say no, I need it to be because you actually don't want one, not because you feel like it's a hassle. Then you have to tell me. His voice was totally sincere. I just want to see you happy. If you're not into it, then what's the point, right? The Duke lightly tapped his own cheek. He had this slightly sheepish grin on his face. Okay, I'll admit I was being a little pushy just now. Bea's heart fluttered. You want to see me smile? Her cheeks flushed as she looked down. Then Beija spoke up, her voice quiet but steady. Actually, Your Grace, I do want to be celebrated. It's just, no one's ever done it for me before. Her cheeks were reddish. She looked up, her eyes totally sparkling with hope. So can I be a little selfish just this once? The Duke's face lit up. Of course you can. Your Grace, there's actually something I wanted to ask you. The Duke looked totally pleased. What is it you'd like to ask? My dear, he threw his arms open wide. I'd even give you the combo to my safe. Beige was screaming in her head. I so do not want to know that. She pulled herself together. You know a lot about the gods, right? The Duke gave a confident smile. I do. So, have you ever heard of the god of trade? The Duke's smile faltered for a sec. Can't say I know much about that one. Beige gave him a suspicious look. For real? You seriously don't know anything, Fitz cut in. Father, I need a word with you. The Duke turned right away. Oh, okay then, he rushed to say to Beija. So sorry, sweetie. We'll catch up later. Before she could even say anything. Wait, I still had more questions. The door slammed shut behind them, leaving her with just a lame sorry. Beija stood there all alone, like what was that even about? It totally feels like they're hiding something. She stared at the closed door, her look getting super determined when a voice called out to her. Miss K. She turned around to see Alistair. So are you done questioning those followers? She asked. One of his guys replied, yeah, but unfortunately their memories are a total mess. Alistair just sighed. If we just had one little lead, this whole investigation would be way easier. Then something clicked for Beija. Oh hey, that reminds me. The priest, the one who seemed like he was in charge, he told me his name. He said his name was Karen. Alistair repeated the name back, Karen. Beija picked up on his strange reaction right away. Is something wrong? Alistair's face went dead serious. That's the same name as the Crown Prince. An image of the blonde-haired Crown Prince popped into her head. Beija gasped. The Crown Prince! She looked at Alistair, shocked. You've seriously memorized every single member of the royal family, Alistair explained. I heard the Emperor has over 70 kids. Since my master has zero interest in remembering them all, I made it my business to. It might just be a coincidence, but it's not like Karen is a super common name, you know. Beija was deep in thought. She turned to Fitz. If I could just see him one more time, I'm positive I could ID him. But it's crazy hard to get a meeting with a prince, right? Fitz was standing right behind her. His voice was calm and confident when he said, It's possible. He looked at her softly. We can just invite him to your birthday party. Beija's head shot up, surprised. His Highness would come to my birthday party. The hint of a smile played on Fitz's lips. We also invited His Majesty the Emperor. Beija was completely speechless. Her smile totally faded, and a wave of anxiety washed over her. I'm just a baron's daughter with a shady background from some random no-name family with zero social standing. That's literally who I am right now. To throw a party for someone like me. And then to invite the royal family on top of it, they'll be completely insulted. Fitz could tell she was worried. That day is going to be about more than just your birthday. Beija was surprised. There's something else. He covered her hand with his, giving it a gentle squeeze to calm her down. On that day, we're going to officially announce our engagement. Fitz's voice was gentle but firm, echoing in her ear. Then Fitz leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. Beija's face went bright red in a heartbeat. In that one moment, it felt like the whole world just stopped.